ceasefire over? Is the ceasefire done? Is the MOU dead?
It's a very interesting question. To me, I think it's over. I don't want to deal with them anymore. They're scum. You know what scum is? They're scum. They're sick people. They're led by sick people. And they're vicious, violent people. And if they had a nuclear weapon, they'd use it. As far as I'm concerned, it's over. I'll speak to our negotiators. They want to negotiate. They're good people. Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner. But they have to come back to me. As far as I'm concerned, it's just a waste of time dealing with them. They're liars. We make a deal. And if I make a deal with him, we have a deal. And he goes out, he talks. We make a deal. Everyone's agreed. No nuclear weapon. We make a deal. They go outside, talk to the press. They say, we never even talked about it. There's something wrong with them. They're cuckoo. As far as I'm concerned, it's over.
Ollie, these are very strong remarks that we've just had from the president. I'm presuming that this will overshadow this meeting that is taking place, a NATO meeting. President Trump signaling that the ceasefire with Iran is over.
Absolutely, Guy. I mean, we were talking just moments before that press conference began about this sort of capacity for Donald Trump to kind of blow up events and sort of do unexpected things. And it came as that line, literally sort of the jaw-dropping here, that basically the United States sees the ceasefire with Iran as effectively over, that it is no longer in effect. Obviously, that's what the president said. You must always take that with a great number of caveats in terms of what it means for American policy. But as far as he's concerned, he says that there's not really any point in continuing to talk with Iran, that they've wasted his time, that he thinks that the negotiators should keep talking, they can keep talking, but as far as he sees things right now, they're not going to make any forward progress. He referred to the Iranians as scum, liars, cheaters, that the conversations keep going, but the ceasefire, as far as the United States is concerned, is over. And of course, the reason Iran comes up is because it is a point of friction between the President of the United States and the allies at NATO. The other headline, until that line dropped, was that basically the United States and Trump is still very upset with NATO. And you saw Mark Rutte there in that press conference doing the High Wire Act, trying to keep the United States on board, saying that the strikes that the United States did over the last couple of days were completely necessary. But of course, that conversation entirely derailed, totally overshadowed by that line from the President of the United States that effectively he sees the ceasefire between the United States and Iran as over.
Let's just talk about the comments related to Spain and some of the other European allies as well, Ollie. One of the things that a lot of analysts were looking for into this meeting was a commitment by the United States to Article 5, to NATO, that if provoked, there would be a response. If Putin were to push, there would be a response. That didn't sound like it to me. It didn't sound like that commitment was there.
No, absolutely not, Guy. And I think that, you know what, I don't think that that's the ambition anymore from NATO allies. I don't think they expect the President of the United States to give that full solidarity, to say the ironclad sort of Article 5. I think that Trump's sort of policy towards NATO is to keep that kind of forever ambiguous, to kind of play with it around the edges. And it has in some ways been effective if the goal has been to get NATO spending up. You know, but I don't think you're going to get that kind of comment from the United States. But, Guy, just on this issue of Spain, I think it's really interesting. I mean, what Trump is talking about, he's still very upset with Spain. Spain's unwillingness to go to that 5%. It's the only NATO member that says he won't spend that. Trump is saying that he's going to cut off visits with Spain. He's going to cut off trade with Spain. This could have huge repercussions for the European Union. The EU would be put in a sort of impossible position if the United States decided to take trade measures specifically against Spain. Of course, the EU manages all of its trade through the bloc. So if the United States were to do that, were to proceed with that, it's a threat we've had in the past from Donald Trump, but he's not effectuated it. If he does, it could blow up the entire trade deal with the European Union, that $1 trillion trade deal. I mean, there is so much to unpack from this press conference and the comments we just had from the President of the United States. Greenland is back in the conversation in a very active way, says it's still a problem. A lot of references to the Nazis and how quickly they overran Denmark, and the United States was there to take care of Greenland. They should never have given it back. And of course, Iran is sort of at the top of the agenda, but a lot to unpack there in the few minutes we heard there from Donald Trump here in Ankara, Turkey.